May the words of my lips and the thoughts and prayers of all our hearts be now and always acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
Well, it's good to be here this morning. There's a few folk here this morning who were not here last Sunday. So it's good to see you and to have the opportunity to greet you and be here as a priest to celebrate and to have the opportunity to proclaim the word. This gospel we had today, Jesus says something that seems at first pretty unusual. You know, what's he talking about here? Hear his words. It's not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but it is what comes out of the mouth that defiles that person. I think when we think of that, and then we hear immediately that the Pharisees were upset by his comments. Of course the Pharisees would be upset. They had purity rituals, particularly about eating. And of course the one that's alluded to here in the gospel today is simply that of the hand washing. The Pharisees were very particular about hands being washed before one does the eating. There was other about the type of animals and so on, rituals that they had regarding the purity in relation to eating. So the disciples said to Jesus, well, the Pharisees took offense to what you've said. And then Jesus does a little prologue about, oh, well, let the blind follow the blind. But then Peter is restless and, as usual, is the one who splurts out the immediate question. And Peter says, hey, Jesus, getting back to that little parable, explain what on earth you mean. Oh yes, Jesus was just waiting for that, wasn't he? He was just waiting to see which of them were going to pick it up first. And Peter would be the first. And so Jesus responds, this explanation about what goes into the mouth, you know, what goes into the stomach, and then is this rather something of an image of what goes out into the sewer. And this is the opposite of that, is what's coming out of the mouth. And then he gives that marvelous list, and that long list of descriptions in there of what can come out. Things that proceed from the mouth, that defile a person. And he says they proceed from the heart. And it goes on through to list, particularly at the end, the words that we speak. False witness, or things that are causing offense. Now, let me ask you for a moment to help me here with my sermon. Are you willing to help me? Sure. Okay. There's a commandment that refers to what we speak, how we speak. What's that commandment? Thank you. It's number 3. Thou shalt not bear false witness. It's not number 3, is it? It's number 9. I got it wrong. You see, I need your help on this one. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Commandment number 9. Bearing false witness. So it's speaking out and it's saying things about another person that are not true. Now there's another commandment about what comes out of our mouth. Anybody know what that is? Of course you know it is. That is it, yes. It's commandment number 3 this time. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. So here, right, established in the commandments, 2 of them is about what comes out of the mouth, how we speak, what we say. Whether we bear false witness, or whether we are people who speak true. Let's step back for a moment and look at a little bit of Bible teaching about how we speak and what we say. You may all, no doubt, will remember the beautiful line from the book of Ecclesiastes. You know that wonderful chapter 3 in Ecclesiastes? There's a time for this and there's a time for that. Well, Ecclesiastes has a verse in there that says, there's a time to speak and a time to... That's right. There's a time to speak and a time to be silent. Yeah, in other words, a time to just shut up. And sometimes when tempers flare, some of us fail to do that, don't we? Yeah, we say a whole load of things and afterwards we say, well, maybe I should have cut off a little sooner and just kept my mouth closed. Yes. If you want to read a chapter, let me offer this morning about how we speak and from the biblical perspective, the dangers of what we say. There's a wonderful chapter in the little book of James. James, the Epistle of James in the New Testament. And in that chapter 3, here's the sort of things it says. James chapter 3 says, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Sometimes we hear parents saying that to the kids, right? Watch your mouth. And then James continues. Verse 8 there of that chapter 3. The tongue, it says James, is an unruly evil full of deadly poisons. Oh yes. What does he mean? It is with the tongue we can cause offense. It is with the tongue we can hurt a person. It is with the tongue we can mislead. Yes, how we speak, we can deceive. And then James goes on and says, this, out of the same mouth can come blessings or curses. That's right. Out of the same mouth can come words of blessing or words that curse another person. There's a book that just came out last year, the title River of Fire. It's from a Roman Catholic nun. And part of what she has done in her ministry has been to accompany men who had been sentenced to death. And as she would accompany them on that last little walk to the place where they would be executed, trying to search for words to say. What would you say in a situation like that? First, you're present there at least with them. What might you say? And she talked about maybe just quoting something like a psalm or some scripture. What might you say in a situation like that?